He did not deserve to die. Absolutely not. It's gone worldwide. It affects a lot of people in Canada too, not just the US. He definitely was an inspiration for myself. Very strong-minded, strong-willed, and yeah, he's a good voice. He's definitely an inspiration, and to many people, not just myself.
It was a really sad news when I heard about that. Even though we disagree with opinions, let's just have a debate and, talk it through. People have different opinions, but just murdering someone because you just don't disagree with the guy, I don't know, it just feels a bit wrong here, to be honest.
Here in Canada, many are reflecting at memorial services and sharing their thoughts on Charlie Kirk's legacy. His tragic passing has brought many to contemplate the importance of free speech in the country.
We have the right to speak what we want to say. And as everybody else, remember, if you don't agree there or you agree with it, we have freedom of speech. We're in a peaceful country. We're in a country that has a freedom of speech. So we should not feel under attack or feel afraid or feel threatened.
You can never kill somebody because they said something that you disagree with. I think freedom of speech is really invaluable. We should respect that.
I don't think anyone's life deserves to be taken over something like that. I hope that people can express their opinions and disagreements maturely. Free speech is still something that's important to be upheld.
We have to not be ashamed to come out and say we have a different opinion. We all have an opinion, and why should we be afraid to share our opinion, even if it might be differing? This is who we are. It's constitutionally protected, having free speech and sharing your opinions.
Kirk's legacy continues to inspire people with courage and conviction in their beliefs.
He was bold and courageous until the end. That's what I admire about Charlie Kirk.
I really respect what he stood for, and he didn't give up on the new generation. He didn't give up on them. He was going to campuses and he was spreading the truth. They took out one voice, but many voices will rise up for the truth.
As memorial services for Kirk continue to take place worldwide, Kirk's legacy continues to grow and inspire people to be courageous and stand up for their beliefs. NTD News, Canada.
Now to the UK, where a memorial for Charlie Kirk was held in London yesterday. NTD's Jane Werrell was there and spoke to Charlie Kirk supporters who came to pay their respects.
Charlie Kirk's legacy reaching beyond borders. People gathered here in London's Hyde Park to remember Charlie Kirk. It's a particularly personal loss for the founder of Turning Point UK.
Just complete shock. It's like shocking to me. I still haven't processed it. I was literally speaking to him a couple of weeks ago. Briefly, we exchanged text. And as someone that knew him so personally, as is always the case with loss, it takes time for you to realise that it's actually happened.
Kirk, a hero and a Christian martyr.
Kirk launched Turning Point UK in 2018.
The first place he wanted to bring Turning Point to outside of America was the UK, and that was for a reason. It's because he believed that, as he said numerous times, America was built on the ideas cultivated in Britain. And he felt that Britain has become a husk of its former self. We've lost the values that helped make this country so special. And he believed that we really needed to reconnect to that.
And I know that Charlie Kirk wanted the UK branch of his organisation to continue in parallel to America.
I wish Charlie was alive to see how many people in Britain loved him, listened to him, were fans of him. Because I think even we at Turning Point UK didn't realise how much he was loved and respected across the country.
The atmosphere here is solemn, but there's also a sense of hope from the people here that Charlie Kirk's dedication to his faith and his spirit of open debate will continue across the world.
It's crazy to live in a time where just for having an opinion, you get killed. And yeah, so I just want to show my respects to Charlie, his family, and for what he stood for.
Whoever assassinated him wanted to censor his message, and they killed him for telling the truth, but now we're going to make sure that it has the opposite reaction. We're going to peacefully make our voices heard and make sure that Charlie's legacy lives on forever.
I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, and I moved over here to be with my British husband. And freedom of speech is something that we speak about on a daily basis in America. The assassination it feels like a personal attack on my faith. And I think it feels that way for a lot of people, even outside of America. As I'm standing here in London, it's refreshing to see that a lot of people are standing up.
The whole world is mourning him, and it's like we knew him, and most of us didn't even know him. You know, we just knew of him. We didn't know him as such. So that's been really an eye-opener.
As people come to terms with Kirk's death, many here are determined to stand up for his legacy and values. Jane Werrell, NTD News, London.
Joining us now to discuss Erika Kirk's speech and her forgiving her husband, Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, is David Medina, a conservative commentator and founder of Project Libertas, which trains and mobilizes conservatives across the Northwest. He attended Charlie Kirk's memorial in Arizona over the weekend. And we have Xi Van Fleet, author of Mao's America, A Survivor's Warning. She survived Chairman Mao's Cultural Revolution in China and now devotes her time to warning about the parallels between what took place in China and what's unfolding in the United States today. So first of all, good afternoon to you both. And before we begin, I want to have you guys listen to this clip of Erika Kirk, forgiving the alleged shooter. I just thought it was really powerful.
That man, that young man, I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. Love for our enemies and love for those who persecute us.
David, I'll start with you. What were you feeling when you heard that?
Well, Don, thank you for having me. I'll just tell you, me and my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter, were sitting right off to the right of Mrs. Erika Kirk when she said that. And let me tell you something, we both lost it. We were, the whole night, the whole evening was powerful, but that specific moment when Erika Kirk showed the ultimate grace and forgiveness and the example of Jesus Christ, when she showed that in that moment, I mean, people around me and my daughter were just, tears were flowing. It was incredible to witness up close.
So can we get your reaction as well?
Yes, I was not there. And
go ahead.
Yeah, I heard it over the radio, and it was deeply, deeply touching and very, very powerful. I just want to say, and I tweeted about this, I think the only weapon that is powerful enough to defeat communism is Christianity. And it's love over hate. It is good over evil. So I think this is absolutely a demonstration that how we can defeat communism is through Christianity, through love. Because I just want to say this, the assassins or those young people support violence against conservatives. They are victims themselves. They are the victims of the deadly ideology called Marxism.
Okay, I think we can all relate to that. And David, can we get your description of what the atmosphere there was like? You mentioned that you were there with your daughter, and we saw in that footage just now that people were breaking into tears. Can you just describe what it was like, the mood there for us?
Don, I'm still smiling about this because it wasn't just the mood around me and the effect it had on the crowd who was mostly crying. It was the spiritual effect. And, if there's anybody, like your guest alluded to, Marxism, if there's anybody that knows about Marxism being implemented in America, it's me here in Portland, Oregon. We're seeing it in our universities across America. And that moment, and your guest is so right. She is so right. Christianity is the answer. Jesus is the answer, because you saw hearts melt across that stadium. I looked around me to the right and left, Don, and I mean, grown men that were military looking men. I mean, some, even the couple, the Secret Service and the security, people were a wreck. It was so powerful.
And can we get your thoughts on this as well? Can you elaborate on your earlier point of how, faith can be the antidote to Marxism and other ideologies similar to that?
Yeah, this is something I have been saying for a long time. communism is the opposite of the polar opposite of Christianity. And and that has been proved historically. The first thing that the CCP did after its founding is to launch this anti-Christian movement to attack churches, to attack faithful, and to attack any church-related organization because they understand the power of Christianity. And we can see the last 2 weeks, there's no rioting, and there's just prayers, and that is the answer, and that is the power of Christianity, and that's how we're going to defeat communism.
I mean, that is such a great point there. And David, maybe you can build on that, because I understand you went to downtown Portland to honor Charlie Kirk and said the amount of support was astounding, right? And it was mostly from liberals. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I just want your audience to know there are freedom fighters across America in deep blue cities, evil-ridden cities like Portland, Oregon, that are still fighting the good fight. And the day after Charlie Kirk was brutally assassinated, Don, I felt like it was an obligation. I had so many messages coming in on my inbox, so many people in fear going, are they just going to start doing this to all of us now, all of us Christians and conservatives and Trump supporters? And I felt an obligation to go to downtown Portland with signs. If you go look on my Instagram, that says, Charlie Kirk, thank you, Charlie Kirk. And it says, we will not be intimidated. And I'm telling you right now, was it fear? It was a little bit in fear, but you know what? It was the courage of Charlie Kirk that had influence on men like me. And I went down to downtown Portland and I had tons of liberals that said, you know what? I didn't agree with the guy, but they gave me a hug. One liberal gave me a hug, and he's just like, we just need to love each other. I didn't agree with anything he said. My families are Trump supporters, but you know what? He did not deserve to go out like that, and we should not be killing each other. And that just lit a fire under me. And this memorial this weekend just continues to light a fire under me and millions across America. There is a revival happening, and I'm thankful for people like she and you who are doing the good work as well.
It just restores a little bit of my faith in humanity, hearing your story of people on both sides coming together despite their differences. And Xi, let me ask you, what do you think Erika's message of faith, of forgiveness, of compassion, how do you expect to set the tone for Turning Point USA's future?
I think she already set the tone. And now in the past 2 weeks, we can see what is the message the conservatives send out and what is the message that we got from the left. Those poor souls, those were indoctrinated kids or indoctrinated people. Basically, they still justify, they try anything they can to justify the violence. And then when all failed, they just say, in open, and that Charlie deserved it. So I think the people in the middle, now they get an opportunity to see the difference. And as you showed earlier, the footage, a lot of people started to really realize, and then they are taking side now. They are rejecting the left, which by now is absolutely communist.
David, can you speak to us about the tone that Erika Kirk has set?
I had a lot of men, Don, reach out to me, and they said, Charlie really inspired me, and he really gave me hope that us men in America can actually live out that dream that Charlie laid out, the Christian dream of having family, of building a family, having kids, getting married, and and being in love with your family. And when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a lot of men were going, is there anybody that, who's going to lead the torch? Who's going to lead the way, especially with Turning Point? And there was a lot of doubt. And I said, you know what? I think with what Charlie has said about his wife, Erika Kirk, I think we need to give it a little time and let's hear from her herself. And I'm telling you, my phone was ringing off the hook yesterday because men and friends of mine were like, oh my gosh, she nailed it. Especially my Christian friends were like, I love how she talked about the role of the wife and the husband and how they're one in the flesh. She absolutely nailed it in the speech last night. And I'm telling you right now, I feel good about the future for Turning Point USA and for America. I think Erika Kirk is going to be a force. And I really think that the left thought that it could take away that spirit with assassinating Charlie Kirk. And Erika Kirk, I think they're going to realize very soon that they made a grave, grave mistake with Erika Kirk coming in.
I think you're so right about that. And Erika has said that to counter hate, you don't use more hate. to fight hate. You use compassion, right?
100%.
Something along those lines. And could you talk to us about Erika's example of forgiveness and how that could help the organization perhaps to appeal to an even wider audience, even those who may disagree with her politically?
Sure.
Yeah, this is what.
Sure. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is what Charlie has been doing: is open debate. Open debate. Talk. Let's talk. Let's not. And he said many times, when the talk stops, violence starts. And now we have all be part of that. The reason I think sometimes I do think that all the conservatives also are to be blamed for his death, because not enough of us speak our mind at home, in school, at work, in the open public space. So it made Charlie sound a lone voice in many ways, and he was attacked as extreme. He's not. He's very modest. What he proposed is common sense. So in order to change basically make it a real turning point, we all have to speak up. We have to speak up our mind. And this is something that I feel really strong about. When I came here to America, I thought, finally, I can speak up my mind, because in China I couldn't. Now, look what happened. Look at what happened. The left silence us, and we all practice self-censorship. We censor ourselves. We watch what we say. And when we watch what we say become lies to please the other side. And so we have to stop it. That's how we honor Charlie Kirk.
So David, do you see this as a turning point? How do we honor Charlie Kirk? What is the path forward for the country from this point on?
Well, I just want to say I'm super impressed with Xi Van Fleet over here. I want her to be traveling the country and doing prove me wrongs just like Charlie did. She is a firecracker, and this is exactly what you are exactly what this country needs. And I love it. And I love, I talk to people in Portland that are from communist Cuba, communist China, and they all have the same thing to say. And it's and people like she are exactly who we need speaking up. But she's exactly right. There were a lot of people who were afraid of being associated with Charlie. There was news stations, conservative news stations, I won't name the name, but that had banned Charlie for a little bit from their program. There were churches that were afraid to have voter registration drives. And so what I saw this weekend, Don, was a complete end to that. You had Chris Tomlin, you had Phil Wickham, you had Brandon Lake coming and performing, people that usually aren't outspoken politically. And some of Charlie Kirk's producers said backstage, I read today that those performers said that they've never seen the spirit move like that. So yes, this is the turning point. I'm seeing it online. I saw it at that memorial. I'm seeing it move throughout the country and in the media. This is a turning point, and this was God's will. Like Erika Kirk said, this was God's will for Charlie to come home to eternity, because the revival is just getting started, and I'm so excited to be part of it with millions of others.
All right, Xi, we're just about out of time here. Any final thoughts you would like to add?
I just want to share my memory with Charlie. And so I started my activism, or whatever you call it, at a school board meeting in Loudoun County. And I gave 1 minute speech, and it went viral. I have no idea I would went viral. And I listened to Charlie Kirk every night in the podcast. And that night, I heard myself playing on Charlie Kirk podcast. And since then, he had interviewed me multiple times. In 2024, he invited me to be a speaker at a rally for Trump in Georgia. And I told Turning Point USA, one day I would love to tag along with Charlie for his campus tour. They told me, of course, and they deprived me of this opportunity. But again, I said, keep talking, and when we all do it, they can't kill all of us.
Okay, very well said, both of you. Xi, David, thank you so much for your time.